Hi everybody, this is Bogas Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a Throwback Thursday review on the Spawn Series 9 Manga Spawn figure. So before we take a look at Manga Spawn, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, Spawn comes with this really awesome big sword. It is sculpted really nicely. You get the Spawn logo there on the outside, and you get it on the inside as well with some black paint, and you get some words painted on right here. Not sure what it says, but if anyone knows, leave a comment down below. There are actually some variations of this sword that do not have the writing on it, and I like it with the writing better. I just think it looks really cool like that. Up next, he has his drone backpack, and this looks really cool. You get these really cool translucent green wings there. Each of the little legs here actually have articulation. They can just move side to side, and if you put the helmet on this, then it looks like a little bug. I love the way that looks. I think it's really cool that you can actually put his helmet on there to make it a little drone that flies around. That is very awesome. And there is Manga Spawn with his little drone backpack on there. And that looks very awesome. I think McFarlane Toys did a wonderful job on this. I love how you can detach it or leave it on his backpack so he can have the wings there. That looks really cool. And finally, he comes with that helmet sculpt that I showed on the backpack there, and you can actually put it over top of his head. His regular head is just spring-loaded, and you push this helmet down over top of it, and it has two tabs that lock in place. And that looks sick. McFarlane Toys did an incredible job of sculpting this. I love the really bright green that they used for the eyes, and he has a very nice black wash over top of the helmet, so that looks really sick. So now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the head sculpt that's underneath that. So taking a look at the head sculpt underneath the helmet, it is sculpted just as well as the helmet. He has some really nice painted details on there. You can see the worms on the left side of his face there. The eyes are done in a very nice green color. Even his tongue and teeth are painted very nicely. That's a really tiny detail. The head is just a little bit on the tiny side, but I get why it is, so they could implement that helmet feature into that. I think that looks very awesome. And this whole figure is just sculpted really well. The armor has some very, very awesome sculpt to it. All of the little lines have black paint down on them, and it brings the details out very nicely. The white M there on the chest looks really good. This version has real chains around the waist. There's actually different versions. Some actually have a plastic chain around the waist. And I didn't like the way that looked. I like the way these metal chains look. I think that looks incredibly sick. He has this insanely long arm blade on the left side. That looks really cool. The silver on this figure just really stands out. It's a very nice color. If you actually look on his armor, you get a little bit of marbleization going on in the plastic. It's a bit of a kind of sparkly marbleized plastic there. So I think that's really good. It's something I really didn't notice until I had the light on, or how shimmery and marbleized it is. So that looks pretty sick. And he has his giant boots here. These look really cool. And he actually has some pretty big blades on the back of them as well. You get some more of that really nice black paint. I'm surprised at how crisp the black paint on this is. It gets down in the lines and it's not messed up or anything. It's very clean paint apps. And then there's the back of the figure. It's painted and sculpted just as well as the front. So McFarlane Toys did a fantastic job on this. This is easily in my top 5 classic Spawn figures of all time. This is just a very, very awesome figure. So now let's go over his articulation. So he doesn't have any head articulation unless you count the head going down like that. His shoulders do move, but with the backpack on, it's very hindered. If you try to move it back, it will just pop it out of place. So let's go ahead and just take that off for the articulation part. So he has shoulders that can move up that far. They can only move back that far. You might chew the plastic up if you try forcing it anymore. He has single jointed elbows that can bend in that far. He has wrist swivel that just moves side to side. He can kick forward surprisingly all the way. He has some really good leg articulation. He can kick back. Actually, he can kick back all the way too. The blades back here were catching, so definitely be careful of that. So yeah, he can actually kick back that far. He has single jointed knees that can only bend in that far. And on the drone backpack, all the legs have articulation that just moves side to side. and the wings move up and down, and they're supposed to hinge, but mine don't. This feels like a very, very brittle plastic, so I'm definitely not going to force it. You can see where it's turning white just a little bit where I did try when I first got this. So yeah, even though those are supposed to move, I won't force it. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to the Manga Ninja version of himself, and there's a lot going on this figure, but it looks really, really cool. Up next, here he is next to Manga Clown, and this is a really unique take on the character. I just really love the design and the paint work. The articulation is a little bit limited due to the way he's designed, but he still looks phenomenal. He looks very grotesque. Here he is next to the Goddess, and this is another figure that's sculpted really, really well. She is a bit top-heavy though, so I am having to hold her up here. You can see that her left leg is just a little bit loose. And finally, here he is next to the new Manga Spawn figure. And I know these designs are drastically different, but I love both for various reasons. I know the new one is pretty hated, but as I said, I do like it. I think the design for it is really cool. I do wish the color scheme would have been more reminiscent of this original version, though. If I do have one nitpick, that's what it would be. So overall, I would highly recommend picking this up if you can find one. If I remember right, there's actually 11 different versions of this figure that you can get. There's versions with the writing on the sword, versions without, the plastic chains, metal chains. There's a dark gray version. There's a dark gray version with I think a dark gray logo, a dark gray version with a white logo, and then the fish tank version. So my personal preference for which one you should pick up is the dark red one with the metal chains and the writing on the sword. I think that is the superior version to all of them. But if you can't find this specific version, there are definitely other options for this figure. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.